We're going to be waiting for 25% on the N2. And then we're going to start feeding in fuel, and then at 56%, I think it should click the switch out. Feeding fuel, lovely. We're also going to bring these up a little bit whilst we're waiting. Start bringing these in, because we are going to be flying into a little bit of darkness. Okay, that's clicked out. Switch that over. Start that. Everything else is on, ready to go. Those are off, that's fine. We're going to get the yaw damper on in a minute. Get rid of that, get rid of that. I suppose we should probably pull this chart up, since that's our departure. Put that in a little bit too late. That's okay though. Now we should be waiting 56, that should click out. I think. Yeah, it's 56, there we go. Lovely, both of these can go on to continuous. Like that. Then we're going to check the generators, switch that over. Yep, we do have power, so we're going to do that. So we're going to switch both of them on. APU bleed switch is going to go off. APU is now going to go off. Packs can come back on, like so. Lovely. Everything else I think is fine. These can come on right now. Probe heat can come on. It is less than 10 degrees at the moment, so I am considering the wing and engine anti-ice, but I'm not sure. I am considering both of them though, and if so, we might actually need them. Going to do that. Right, next up we're going to check the flight controls. Elevator works. Ailerons are working. Rudder works. Why this is complaining about flight controls at the moment? Oh, it's a yaw damper, that's what it is. What's a yaw damper like that? That should probably get rid of that. There we go. All cautions. Yep, double check that. That's all gone. Lovely. Right, I really do think I should have these on. So I am going to switch those on. Right, so we have anti-ice running as well. Flaps have been set. Auto brake is set to RTO. Pushback has been ended. Taxi lights can now go on. Runway turn-off lights can now go on. Now, I was told that sometimes in daytime they don't bother with taxi lights, but we're going to use taxi lights anyway. But I have been told that sometimes they don't bother with taxi lights. Also, we're going to set up not that. That was a mistake. This one. We're going to set this up to roughly about 1,300 feet. That's going to be our up speed. So whatever our V2 is, we're going to set that up to up speed at once we get to 1,000 and whatever feet. As I said, we are doing a manual. We are going to be doing a manual liftoff. 1,317. No, we'll go for a little bit more than that. That will do. 1,350. There we go. 1,350. Lovely. Job done. Okay. Anything else that needs to be checked? Oh yeah, let me try this course thing again. Does it? It doesn't make a difference there for some reason. It's supposed to. It is supposed to do that. Flight directors are going to go on at this point in time. We're not going to be using them as much, but they are going to go on at this point in time. And just for the sake of it, for the sake of completeness, we are going to have this go on all the way. We're not going to bother testing it. We know it works. And anything else we need? No, that's about it. Guess we could switch on weather radar, though there's no weather really to speak of, so I suppose we don't need it. We could switch on stations though. That will help us out. And we'll bring that down to a 5-mile radius for us. Lovely. Right, let's get ourselves moving to the runway. Let's get ourselves rolling. Lovely. It's very easy to get this aircraft moving. This aircraft is very, very nice to fly. The only complaint I would have with the aircraft is it's a little bit slippery, as they say. And by that I mean aerodynamically, it just goes. So when we're in the air, speed brakes will probably be required more than once. And as I said, I'm not going to be using head tracking today, so I can have a look at the chat in case people start chatting. So obviously I want to be able to read the chat. Right, so we're going to, let's see, where are we going to go? Pull up a chart of the aerodrome. We're currently here, we're going across there, and we'll just follow this along, I suppose. Like that. Right, this can also now go to nothing. So we're going to do that. Everything else is good. We don't need to set up anything on the autopilot because I'm going to be going. I'm going to be flying manually for the start of it. Devon Vlogger, no idea what I'm doing. Well, hopefully you'll learn something. We're going to be doing a repositioning flight, so I'm doing a repositioning flight over to London Heathrow from Birmingham Airport. So we're just going to be moving this aircraft. We've set the aircraft up, ready for departure. Everything's good to go. And we're actually going to take this one. We're going to just stop the aircraft just here. There we go. We're just going to stop the aircraft here a moment. Parking brake set. Make sure that everything is ready to enter the runway. So we're going to have at the holding point, landing lights are going to go on. Taxi light can now go off. We're going to switch this on to strobe and steady.
Flight attendants, please be seated for departure.
There you go. We've got someone telling us, yep, that's going to happen. Just let them know. Make sure everything is checked here. Everything seems to be okay. As far as I know, I've probably made a mistake somewhere. I'm still not used to this aircraft or using this aircraft as much as I now do. I'm going to pull up the right chart once again, which is going to be that one. So just double check to make sure we've got everything that we're going to do. We're going to take off 327. We're going to follow the flight director as best as we can. Yeah, we're going to follow the flight director as best as we can. And we're going to join and fly like that, and then we're going to switch over into, possibly just switch into LNAV once we go direct Honolulu. You're still doing the first CPL lessons on the main game. Oh, you're thinking Flight Simulator. This is X-Plane. And what they teach you is completely different to what you probably actually get in real life. They will teach you a lot of the good stuff, but maybe not everything. But yeah, no problems. Oh, an X-Plane. I didn't know there was a CPL lesson on X-Plane. Well, there you go then. Something new. I might actually check that out just for the sake of it. Okay, I think everything is good to go. Switch that on. That's good, that's good. We'll roll into the runway quite nicely. That's on RTO. That's good, those are set.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
Okay. And we're probably going to need it like this. Let's see if I remember to set the clock. Which I might not. Give it a little bit more power. Now the one I can never get working is VNAV. Now it's just something that happens. Mr. Leo, good evening to you. Hopefully you are doing well. Guess what? You're about to see me bodge this up. Right. Stop. Make sure everything is okay. Now, this is the part where I'm probably not going to be talking takeoff and land. This is the part where I'm not going to be talking on so much or looking at the chat. So I do apologise, but I kind of need to fly the aircraft in accordance to this. So let's see, make sure that's okay. 189, looking 189 Trent, and we're looking right. Just to give us a help. Should I get that tuned? No, I can't be bothered. I cannot be bothered. That is, again, this is something I learnt yesterday from that veteran pilot. They don't often tune these because FMCs don't really go wrong. Passing by to see how it's like, oh, well, you're about to see an expert. You're about to see an expert failure, I am sure. Right. Let's see if I can translate what I have learnt into this. Get that. Wait for that to stabilize. Release. Takeoff power set. Watch the wind. Little bit of wind, just use the rudder a bit.
80 knots.
80 knots confirmed.
V1 rotate.
Rotate.
Positive rate.
Gear up. Holding about 15 degrees, that's what we're looking to do. On 15 degrees. And that should help us hold our V2 speed quite nicely. We just continue holding this until
1000.
right, set up speed. So at this point we want to try and accelerate to the up speed, which is going to be 200 knots. So we'll bring the nose down to about 12.5. And we want to bring in a turn like that. As a matter of fact, it's actually easier to look like this. This is how it is really out the window. So we're not following the flight director here, we're just doing what we need to do and flying as we need to fly, as I learned. Straight into the clouds, but we just follow the magenta line. We'll bring the flaps up. Straighten the nose, we'll go to 10 degrees so that we can continue accelerating. Ignore that weird flashing, I'm not sure what's going on with that flashing. Hopefully we should be out of the clouds very soon so that the flashing doesn't actually do anything. There we go, we're out the clouds. It's the strobe lights, but I don't know why. We're going to go to flaps 1. Continuing quite nicely. And at this point we are going to activate LNAV and go autopilot command, like so. Hopefully it doesn't follow the flight directors. In fact, it's still following the flight directors for some bizarre reason. Don't want it to follow that flight director on that. That's not what the real aircraft does. At least I was told that's not what the real aircraft does. We're going to go vertical speed and we're going to bring that to 2000. We're going to do that. Then we're going to do LNAV like so. That should work. Auto throttle is going to go on and we're going to bring this up now to 250 knots. That's going to go up 250 and we are going to go speed hold at the moment. There we go. And we are good. Okay, let's go through the after takeoff checklist, which obviously we do normally, but we can't do that at the moment. That needs to go to off. The aircraft is a 737-800 NG. Right, VNAV, LNAV we're not going to worry about. Auto brakes can now go to off. Landing lights can go off. Runway turn-off lights can go off. We're going to leave the landing lights on above 10,000. So we're not going to worry about that. In fact, landing lights are going to be on the entire time. Right, I think everything else is going to stay... Yeah, everything else is good. Landing checklist complete. We are now going to go... yeah, that's not true. We're actually going to go direct Daventry. So we'll execute that. Direct Daventry now. So we'll send this aircraft direct to Daventry. This is the aircraft, by the way. There you have it. It's in a lovely 30-degree bank at the moment. So get back inside. Aircraft generally shouldn't do a 30-degree bank. It should be at a 25 degrees, I was told. Good evening, Vectrix. But everything seems to be going to plan at this moment in time. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to climb to 10,000 now. So we'll do a climb to 10,000 feet. We'll go a level change. And we'll see what we can do. There we go. Into level change. Climbing up to 10,000 feet, and we are going to swap that out to standard now. There we go. Now again, this aircraft doesn't seem to be performing exactly it doesn't perform exactly as it should. You know what I forgot? I forgot chronometer. It's fine, we don't need to know our flight time. Have you rehearsed your 2000s pop star singer names? Vectrix, I want you to name every single member of the boy band NSYNC and the Backstreet Boys. Right, everything else is good. I am completely surprised this has actually gone to plan. I have not bodged this up. And now we can just relax for a little bit of time. And by a little bit, I do mean a little bit. We're not going to be relaxing too long. You refuse to answer that question on the grounds of them being evil. Okay, top of climb is coming up. We've been given ATC clearance up to 10,000 feet, but we're running along here now. With 1,000 to go, realistically we'd be wanting to drop this, and we'd bring this down. It says about 1,000 to go. I was told that this is normally brought down 1,500 and then 1,000 feet. Boy band, you think boy bands are the worst thing to happen to music? I disagree. I actually disagree with that. I think, yes, okay, there are many boy bands that are pretty bad, but I don't think they're the worst thing to happen to music. Right. Unfortunately, it looks like we're going to be spending a lot of time in the clouds as opposed to above the clouds. Right. Next up, what we're going to do is we need to see where our top of descent is going to be. So top of descent is going to be just after Westcote. Now I am considering bringing in the Bovingdon transition just for the sake of it. So if we go into the arrivals, this isn't, again, as I said earlier, this isn't what they do in real life. They would be vectored in, but for the sake of getting this right, we're going to put in the transition, and then we're probably still going to fly manually. So let's execute that. That brings the top of descent down to all the way to Bovingdon. And what I'm going to do is I am going to pull up these charts. That's not the chart I want. And also I am going to request a climb to 10. Let's assume a climb to 12,000 feet has been approved for us. There we go, we've got a climb approved to 12,000 feet. We're also going to, at this point in time, increase our speed to 270. Okay. Can I rotate that? Yes, I can. Right. This is the
Ladies and gentlemen,
what we're going to be flying
to our
in.
cruise altitude. For your safety, it's important to remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened anytime the seatbelt sign is on. Even if the sign is off, please keep your seatbelt fastened in case we experience unexpected rough air.
Okay.
Also remember to use caution when opening overhead bins, as items may have shifted in the flight. We've now reached an altitude where it is safe to use approved electronic devices. Please be reminded that federal regulations prohibit the use of cellular network services during the flight.
What the hell can I look at on my left? This is Avitar, and this is an EFB. This is called an electronic flight
We accept all
bag.
major credit cards, US dollars, and other currencies for duty-free purchases.
Yeah, could you shut up, person in the cabin? Thank
Due
you.
to security
Shut
regulations, we'd like to remind you about restrictions to carry on baggage containing liquids, gels, or creams.
I forgot when I updated this, I forgot to do this, didn't I? Right, so this is called the EFB, this is electronic flight bag, and these are some of the charts that I have downloaded in. So this is what we're going to be flying in. So you can see here that we're going towards Daventry at the moment, which is 116.4. We're just about to approach Daventry, and then we're going straight into the Star. Now that means that we're coming in towards Westcote, and we're supposed to be, there you go, it tells us all the information we need coming in from there. So actually at this point I am going to stop us right there at 11,100 feet, and then we're going to go to the legs page and we're going to have a look. So Westcote, we want to be at flight level, there we go, so we need to be down to flight level 10, should I say flight level 100, which is 10,000 feet. So we've got that. Now at the same time, what I need to do is I need to call up ATIS for Echo Golf Lima Lima. So we're going to go over here, we're going to go to ACARS, and we're going to do an ATIS request, and we're going to call in air traffic. We're going to find out the METAR for Heathrow Airport. Okay, so we are flying unfortunately in some clouds. As I said, it's current weather, it's just in the past. We've gone a few hours back in time, but it is current weather, so this is pretty much what the weather is like in Britain right now. Okay, so we've got a 20-mile run to Westcote. We've got the ATIS up here. Right. Echo Golf Lima Lima. As you can see, 2050 Zulu is the last time we've had that. So overhead bins. Yeah, I do not want to see my rubbish again after throwing it away. Automated 1, 290 at 6. Visibility is fine. Overcast conditions at 4,500. Temperature 9. Dew point 6. QNH 1037. Not a problem. We're now turning in there. Now at this point, I am actually going to bring us back down to a descent to 10,000 for Westcote, and we're going to descend very, very gently. We're going to descend very gently, and we are going to reduce our speed to 250. i.e. what the weather is like in Britain most of the time. Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, if I would show you other angles, but because this is such a short flight, unfortunately, this is what we're stuck with. You can see a few glitches with the clouds. They are working on the clouds and working on improving them. But, I mean, it does look pretty good. And we will look at replays soon. As soon as I'm on the ground, we'll go back into a couple of replays. Pick a nice area to have a look at and see what things were like. I guess landing lights need to come back on now. Everything else is okay, that's not a problem. We are at 250 knots, 11,000 feet, and we'll bring the descent rate down to 250 feet per minute. Given the speed that we're travelling, that's actually, given the speed we're travelling, 350 might be better for us. We're going to set the course up already for London Heathrow, so we're landing 27. So if we have a look at the chart for 27 left, that's the RNAV chart. This chart's here for 27 left.
1,000 to go.
You'll see here that transition altitude is fine. Aerodrome elevation is 83, so 100 has been set at the top, which is what we did earlier. And final approach is 270. Final approach course is 270, so we're going to set up 270, and we'll hopefully do that, and that should work quite nicely for us. Should have brought that downwards, that would have been smart. The frequency that we're looking for today should be 109.5, if I remember correctly. I think it's 109.5. Why can I not find it here? There it is, 109.5. So we've already got that set, ready to go. I'm going to swap them in right now, nice and early. How do you do a reply? Oh, replay. Replay is Alt and R. Oh, look at that. You can just see the ground down there, England, with Orbit's True Earth. And it looks, this is completely accurate to Britain. This is what Britain looks like. It's beautiful. It's beautiful in every which way from the air. Maybe not so much on the ground. Who am I kidding? I like Britain. It's home. Okay, so let's ensure that we're okay for this. I'm actually going to attempt to go into VNAV here. I don't know whether it's going to work. Let's increase the rate of descent. And I'm going to bring this down to 9,800 as we head in towards Bovingdon. Bovingdon, we need to slow down to 240. Yeah, I remember you saying that you're not so much on the simulator, but I mean, sometimes it looks stunning. I mean, just look at that. You can't argue against that. I don't know what the master caution's for. I'm going to ignore it. Right, we are dropping quite nicely. We've got to flight level 09. Yep, we've got to where we need to be. So I'm actually going to go into VNAV, and I hope this works. I really do hope this works. Just please work. So far so good. We're going to bring this down to 7,000, and we're going to bring this down to 6,000. Actually 7,000 is probably good, and we're actually going to, now I'm going to bring this down because the truth is, I don't need all that information. I don't need it to be so far away. Right. Let's make sure there's no route discontinuities, which there aren't. Lovely. We'll go over to this. We'll set the landing. We're going to go flaps 30 landing. We've got a long runway. Our VREF is going to be 132. You might be able to see Big Ben on this, as you were just talking about Big Ben. You might see it, but since it's cloudy, the chances of that are pretty low. Right, we're coming into Bovingdon right now, so we can get rid of this map, and we'll probably pull up this map. So what we're looking for is we're going to fly that, and then we're going to fly in, but it might not end up like that. Okay, let's start looking at the checklists. Make sure the checklists are going okay. Right, top of descent is right there again, and then we've got a deceleration point just there. We might need spoilers. Again, one thing I've learnt is flaps. We don't do what Carter did once, and that was crash spectacularly. I will try my best not to. I did this in a real sim yesterday, and I will admit I could do 50 landings in X-Plane and not be anywhere as near as good as what I was yesterday, because everything being physical, everything being in front of you, you've got so much more awareness. I could land that aircraft almost perfectly every time. Well, I say perfectly for me. Right, the descent, we're going to set the auto brakes. Since we've got a long runway at Heathrow, we're going to do auto brakes 1. The ILS frequencies have been set. We've done this. Airport's elevation is 100 feet. Everything else has been checked there. Heading settings, we are good for this. We're going to set this up actually, because we might go ahead and extend this a little bit for ourselves, just because that's what we do. So I'm going to, now we're going to assume we're going to get radar vectors from now. So we're going to assume we've had radar vectors 120. Yep, we've had radar vectors 1206. Someone said Speedbird 777. Turn left heading 120. Descend and maintain 7,000. So we're going to go, at that point we're going to go into heading select, reduce speed. They might go reduce speed, I don't know, 210. So we're going to reduce speed 210. There we go, reduce speed 210, and now we're going into heading select 120. We're not in LNAV anymore, we're not in VNAV anymore, and we're going to descend at 445, or we're going to descend at 1,000 foot per minute to 7,000 feet. There we go. I only ever crash in flight sims. So now we're following air traffic control. Now if you look there, that's the M1. That's the M1 there, and that's the M25. And that's going in towards Brent Cross. So we're descending to 7,000 feet. In fact, we're actually going to now, let's say they'll go Speedbird 777, descend and maintain 6,000 feet. So we'll descend and maintain 6,000 feet. Make sure we're in vertical speed. And we'll increase the rate of descent just a tad. Make sure that we're not breaking the speed limit. We are still slowing ourselves down, as we would expect. Right, now, because they're trying to filter us into traffic, maybe they might tell us Speedbird 777, turn left heading 090. So I've got to turn left heading 090, Speedbird 777. And we're still trying to reduce our speed. At this point, the speed's not coming down, so we're actually going to bring the speed brake out. As I said, this is a very slippery aircraft. We don't need that information anymore. We're not following that. The only information we're going to need is going to be this one towards the end. Now what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and fly over Big Ben. Can you fly military jet trainers in this? Yes, I have a Red Arrows. I have a Hawk T1. I have a Hawk T1 trainer in this. Right. Now at this point they would say that we're going to be descending QNH 1037. So what happens is, no matter, even though we're above the assigned altitude for the transition, we're going to swap this to 1037 because we have been instructed by air traffic control. They have given us a QNH, so we're going to do that. Now it's going Speedbird 777, descend and maintain 5,000 feet. And now they're going to say maybe speed our discretion. We're getting ready to land, so we need to make sure everything is going to be okay here. We're going to set up our radio barometers. So we're going to set this up, our minimums, and we're going to go for 229 today. So we're going to set that up. We're going to set up the minimums, and we're going to put it in for do Barrow. We're going to bring it to 229. Whilst we descend. Now again, as I said, I'm doing this on my own, so it's kind of harder. 227, 229, there we go. Nearest airport is Exeter. Closest airport to me is Blackpool, Liverpool, Manchester nearby. Right, we are flying over London now. So what we're going to do is, we're actually at Lambourne. At this point, we could probably, now we've still got the flight detent going, we're going to reduce the rate of descent to make sure that we're okay. And we're going to go Speedbird 777, turn right heading 180. So we're going to do turn right heading 180. And there you go, there's London below us. Right, we're going to switch on the turn-off lights at this point in time. Everything's good, that's good, everything's continuous, taxi lights don't need to be on. Well, we're at 1,000 to go. At this point in time, I am going to bring out one stage of flaps. And now we're going to go to the flap speed. So flaps 1 speed is going to be there, 17, for today it's 175. There's London, there's central London over us. So I've done this extended approach on purpose. What we're going to do here is we're actually going to bring the centre line for 27 left. We're going to bring this up here now, and we're just going to bring that into an execute like that. So there we go. It's telling us everything that we need to know. So not going to worry about that. Right, now we can slow the aircraft down massively. Right, so the aircraft is now slowing very nicely now. They're probably going to go Speedbird 777, descend and maintain 3,000 feet until established on the localizer 27 left. So I'd be like, descend and maintain 3,000 feet until established on the localizer 27 left, Speedbird 777. So we're going to do that. Now we are picking up speed again. So this, as I said, this aircraft is incredibly slippery. And what I really want to do is I want to bring out flaps 5, but I've been told that really they don't do that anymore. They don't bring flaps 5 out like that. It's not required. Okay, but the other thing is that we've got the track. You can see here that the glide path is 500 foot below us. So we are okay, and because we're going a little bit longer, as you can see, it's helping us out a little bit. Okay. Right, now they're going to say, so we've done that. Speedbird 777, turn right heading 210. And establish ourselves on the localizer. So I'm going to go VOR localizer. So we're going to turn in, and we are going to go for the localizer now. Now we are a little bit fast. We are a little bit fast here. Now once we're established on the localizer, so you can see here we're on heading select. As soon as that goes green, we're going to click the approach button, and then we're going to set the missed approach altitude to 3,500 feet. So we're just waiting to get ourselves established as we go through the clouds. There's the Thames, looking beautiful as ever. I'm actually going to turn this in a little bit more. I worry a little bit about this. And we're at 3,000 feet, so now we can start slowing this aircraft down. Now generally what we want to do nowadays is bring it in, glide it in all the way, but unfortunately I don't have enough practice to do that. VOR localizer, there we go. That's been done. So now we're going to hit glide slope, and we are going to set this to 3,500. That's missed approach altitude. We are now slowing the aircraft down to where we need to go. If we have a look at this, we have a fair amount to go before we get to the runway. Right, we're now going to go, there's that, we're going to go flaps 5. So we're going to slow the aircraft down further. So we're going to continue slowing the aircraft down. Now we have gone through the localizer, but we are coming back on track very nicely. Right, landing checklist, let's make sure. Flaps need to be lowered on schedule, we are doing that. Spoilers need to be armed, there we go, we haven't done that. So let's bring the speed brake like that. And there we go, that's now armed. Glide slope has been acquired, so we are good. Now we're just going to follow the glide slope down. Now this aircraft should be completely okay on this. It should not be speeding up. Now we're not going to do an auto landing, we are going to land this manually, but because it's single pilot operations, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for me. Right, at this point I want to go flaps 15, gear down. Now I have brought the gear down a little bit early, but again, as I said, because it's single pilot operations, I need to do this.
2,500.
Right, so we've got the call for 2,500. Everything's cross-checked. Yep, we're all good. Right. I'm not going to go flaps 30 just yet. As a matter of fact, what would happen now is I would be taking control. So at this point in time, I'm going to disengage the autopilot. And there's a click spot here to disengage that and the auto throttle. So we're going to do that. I think. No, it's not there. Where's the click spot? There we go. Alright, I have control of the aircraft. So now all I've got to do is fly this down. Now I'm going to slow this aircraft down a little bit more. And I'm going to try and keep the localizer, keep the glide. That's my goal. All my goal is now is to bring this aircraft down. So I need to slow the aircraft down now. Because we are at flaps 15, we're looking for a flaps 30 landing. So the flight director is going to help me here, telling me where I need to position my aircraft to land. But of course, it's not going to give me everything. I need to fly the diamonds myself. And it's much harder, as I say, it's much harder in a sim than it is in... it's much harder in X-Plane than it is in something like... well, I'm going to go to flaps 30 now. That's been done. It's much harder in X-Plane than it is in... What's going on with the auto throttle? Hey, auto throttle disengage. Okay, the auto throttle for some reason did not disengage properly. That's fine. That's okay. We'll still make it. Yeah, it's much harder, as I said, in X-Plane than it is, for example, in a real sim. And the only reason for that is because there is no... I can't sort of judge distance properly in this. As much as I'm trying to, judging the distance is not happening. It's much harder to judge the distance
500
in this. Right, let's make sure we keep this. Let's see what this landing... that's a problem. I need to work out what setting it is that's causing this. Because I was okay before,
400
but clearly I'm not now. Okay. Sort of established we're okay. Still alright. A little bit low, but that's okay. We're managing.
300
I'm just watching the lights now. Keeping that speed as we need it.
approaching minimums.
Okay.
200 minimums.
Landing.
100 50 40
Alright, shut off the
30.
power.
20 10
And we are down. Not quite on the centre line. Nose down gently. That's good. Now we don't have reversers today, and we're not going to actually need them. I'm now going to go manual braking. There we go. That's been disarmed. Manual braking. Now flaps are not going to go up just yet. Right, there is a high-speed exit just here that I'm going to look to take if I can see it. Is it this one? I think this one's the high-speed exit. So we're going to try and take this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
It's about
and your
30
carry-on
miles per
items
hour.
stowed until the aircraft is parked at the
There we
gate
go.
and the captain has turned off the seatbelt sign. We ask that you please use caution when opening the overhead bins
Hit the
to
brakes
prevent injury
again.
from any items that may have shifted during the flight. You may now use mobile phones and other handheld electronic
And now we're
devices.
going to switch off the
However,
landing
laptop
lights.
computers may not be used at
One-way
this
turn
time.
off lights, switch on the taxi lights.
Before you leave the aircraft, please be sure to check your seat pockets,
that.
the overhead bins, and the floor area around your seat for any personal articles.
And
you
we're
may
just
have
going to
brought on
assume
board.
that we have been
We'd like
given
to thank you for
clearance
flying
to
with
taxi
us.
to the
We
terminal.
enjoyed having you on board today and look forward to serving you again soon.
So
Thank
we're
you
just
and
going
have a
to
great
assume
day.
that we've been given that clearance. At this point, flaps can go up all the way. This can go to off. So flaps are now going up. Flight directors can go off. The auto throttle caught me out, unfortunately. But aside from that, it was a fairly okay landing. Those buildings actually are there. They actually are there, Vectrix. Glad you enjoyed that, Devon Vlogger. We still have a little bit to go. Just a little bit. We just got to park up and shut down. So, as we're taxiing, we're going to leave this on nothing. We're going to bring that transponder back down to standby, like so. We're going to go all the way to Terminal 5, which is down at the end. And we can get rid of this. We'll go over there. That's not the one I'm after. That's not the one I'm after. That's the one I'm after. We're going to find a place to park very soon. And anything else that we need to do, we're going to go through it now. So flight directors are off, spoilers are off, so we'll make sure that spoilers are fully retracted. Flaps have gone all the way to nothing, so that's great. Auto brakes are now off again. Taxi lights are on, landing lights are off, runway turn-off lights are off. Are they off? They are off. Position lights have gone back to steady, wheel well lights can go on, window heat can go off, anti-ice can go off, APU needs to start. So what we're going to do is we're going to anti-ice can now go off. There we go. For all of that. Window heat can go off, so we don't need it. We're going to start the APU, but we are just shutting this down, so we're not going to actually start the APU here. We're just going into full shutdown, so we don't have to worry about that. Your point still stands on the buildings. I'll be honest, I've seen aircraft landing here before. It's not that bad. It's really not that bad. They are a lot further than you think they are. Right, where are we going to go? It's empty today. I'm really glad you've enjoyed the video, though. I am looking to work out what the frame problem is here. Anything else that needs to go off? I think everything is fine now. I suppose we should start the APU, in fact. Let's do that. Right, we'll turn off on this next one. I want to see how bad that landing was. I'm actually going to go into a replay to see how bad that landing was. What the heck? Speedbird 777, a buggy just went in front of us, a luggage trolley. Right, and I guess we'll pull in over here. There we go. And where's the markings for us? I think we should probably be just about there. Parking brakes on. Taxi lights off. Hey look, there's actually a reflection on the taxi lights. That's awesome. They've actually added reflections in now. Okay, let's have a look at how we've actually stuck that aircraft. Well, we're a little bit back from where we need to be. Well, we are a little bit back. In fact, I'll tell you what. Since we are a little bit back, I'll just roll the aircraft forward, like so. That will do. That will do very nicely. Parking brake pulled. So, in fact, it's a lot further forward than you need to be. Normally, there'd be someone who's giving hand signals there, letting me know. Right, let's go through the shutdown procedure. Right. Well, you guys think that was too fast coming in? APU. Generator switches need to go on. APU can go on like that. We are going to have the taxi lights off. Parking brake is set. That's pretty good. We're going to switch this over to APU, make sure we've got the power. We do have the power, and we're going to shut off the engines. There we go. Engines being shut off. Master warning can be disengaged like that. Yes, yes, shut up. Wheel chocks are going to be set, but we're not going to worry about that just yet. Seatbelts are probably going to go off. I suppose they normally do ground power. But we're not going to worry about ground power. All these lights can now go off. Actually, nav lights can still be on. That can go off. 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 In fact, I guess all of them can go off since the aircraft is shutting down. So there we go. That's all off. This can go into auto. Yaw damper goes off. And hydraulic pumps all go off. Fuel pumps all switch off like that, apart from the APU one. That was stupid. That was really stupid of me. Emergency lights, that needs to be disengaged. That needs to be disengaged. That needs to be opened. We're going to switch off battery in a minute. IRS selectors both go off. There we go, so we should lose everything on this. Perfect. That goes back to the menu. That needs to go back to the menu, like so. We're going to switch this over into standby power, because that's what we're going for in a minute. Then we're going to shut off. We're going to shut off the APU, so everything should switch off. A lot of things should just shut down. There you go. That goes off. All the bleeds go off. Fans go off. Packs, or fans and packs go off. That shuts all of that. Probe heats go off. That's already off. That's all off. And that's pretty much the aircraft. I think that's ready to go. Let's disengage that. And we will switch off standby power. No, come on. Let's switch off standby power. Off. Off. There we have it. Aside from this, which is always on, the aircraft is shut down. That's a fully shut down aircraft.